Hello and welcome back to the channel, How I Moved the Decimal. And in this video, I am photographing slides to sell on eBay. These are mainly from the 60s that I'm doing in this lot. I'm very interested with the Bell and Howell containers for the slides. They're like small boxes. They're not the long containers, which for me, space-wise, is amazing, and it makes it easier for me to ship. I also have extra boxes that I did buy from a third party that I can ship slides in, but I do like these small Bell and Howell boxes. I was looking online and they really don't sell that much by themselves, so I am more than happy to use them as the shipping vessels for that, which is nice, saves me money, gets things out of my inventory. I'm not even halfway through this larger lot of slides. Again, I think I got around 10,000 slides from this closet. I am maybe 4 containers into 12 containers. So I'm nowhere near it. I will have inventory for a while for this. I don't have the urge to go and buy slides. If I run across them, I do. I will say I have been looking at the online estate sale a little bit lately. I was lucky enough in a previous auction, I have a large batch of vintage tablecloths and linens that I do need to wash and start photographing. But I really can't do that until we are done with our dining room table, because they take the entire dining room table to do photographing these linens. I spread them out. I have to measure them because vintage linen and hemmed versus non-hemmed linen, it all different sizes. But I do have 4 extremely large, like 65-gallon Tupperware totes full of vintage linens. I do wash everything before, especially when it comes to vintage stuff, because one, I don't want it falling apart on the buyer. A lot of times with vintage stuff, it comes undone in the washing machine. And you're like, but you're destroying vintage linen. Yeah, but the amount of people that are going to hand wash a king size bed sheet is very, very slim. And the minute they throw that in their, I about said microwave, the minute they throw that in their washing machine, that's going to cause an issue for them. And I don't want a buyer coming back saying, well, I washed it and it just fell apart. I've had elastic rot out. I've had fabric just crumble. I was measuring fabric once and I flattened it, pulled it straight to flatten it out so I can measure it, and it just ripped in half. So rot can happen. It's the same thing with shoes. I always wash it, and if it dies in the washing machine, it dies in the washing machine and it goes to my animal shelter. The animal shelter loves sheets, they love blankets, they love towels. All of that can just be donated to them. They don't care if there's a rip in it. They don't care if the elastic is rotted out of it. They're just more than likely going to use it and throw it away. So that will get donated. We also have a feral cat that I love dearly, and I wish she would let me touch her. We've had her for 10 years. She came with our house. We bought our house, and they're like, hey, here's a cat. Absolutely adore her. She's gorgeous. She's a little long-haired Russian blue. She hates everybody. I have been able to touch her once in 10 years, and she looked at me like I shot her. So she has an outdoor cat house. It is heated. It has blankets and stuff in it. It has straw in it. We change it out all the time in the winter. Sometimes we change it out every couple of weeks just so she's warm and dry. And I'll use it for that. But I always like to wash vintage linens because I would rather have it fall apart on me than on somebody else. Also, unfortunately, depending how the linens were stored and stuff, they can have a smell to them. These linens came all from one house. I bought several different closets full of linen, not the same closets or same house or same estate that the slides came on. Just this estate company likes to sell things by closet instead of saying all the shirts or sometimes if they're really full, they'll sell by shelf. So like the first 3 shelves of this closet or the last 3 shelves of this closet. Sorry, still sick. But I bought several closets full of vintage linens. Unfortunately, one of them was in the bathroom. So mildew can happen with that. The damper smell can happen with that. And there is a bit of a mildewy smell to it. I need to see if I can launder it out. I'm thankfully just now getting my smell back. It had been gone for over a month. Ironically, getting influenza A, I got my smell back after that. So with us, with influenza, it was just mucus. Like I was blowing my nose every 5 seconds. I was coughing stuff up. It was disgusting, but my smell basically came back when I had influenza A. I'm not saying that's how we should treat COVID smell loss, but it's basically back. I still have like stuffy nose smell, so I'm not smelling everything perfectly, but it's way better than when I had no smell at all, or everything smelled like cigarette smoke, which was horrible. So I didn't mess with any of the linens, and I did get them in the beginning of October. And then I got COVID, and I didn't want to mess with any of them because I really needed my sense of smell, because I didn't want to list something that smelled like mildew or smelled like cigarette smoke. I just kind of thought it was my smell because everything to me did smell like cigarette smoke for a solid 2.5 weeks until I got influenza A. So I would have just taken it for granted and said, okay, it's because of COVID and that's why it smells like that. And I don't want someone to come back and give me like a bad review or just be really unsatisfied with the product they bought from me or not trust me as a seller in the future because it smelled bad and I couldn't tell because I had COVID. I did get a feedback that, lay off the laundry detergent because they're like, wow, I bought these jean shorts from you and the laundry detergent smell was pretty strong. And ironically, that happened during COVID where I couldn't smell anything. Like I couldn't have told you what those jean shorts smelled like. So yeah, I want to be very smell aware of them, and I like to also be able to use the whole dining room table because I want to make sure there is no wearing, no thin spots, no staining. We're gross. People are gross. Our bodies leave stains on things, especially pillowcases. I've had to get rid of so many pillowcases because of staining from like hair products or facial products. So I, again, want to be able to smell everything, want to be able to look at everything, have it all spread out. I flip it over and do both sides so I can really make sure that there's nothing going on there because that is one of the downfalls to vintage linens is yellowing, staining, tearing, rotting, all of that I need to be aware of. If I sold more vintage clothing, I'm sure I would have the same issue with vintage clothing, but I really don't sell vintage clothing that much, but I do sell vintage linens, vintage blankets. I have a couple wool Montgomery Ward blankets that I need to lay out because if any of you have ever had any dealings with wool, especially vintage wool, I need to make sure they haven't been ate by moths. I need to make sure that no holes have been gotten in them, and I need to spread them out by doing that. And sometimes I'll spread them out and put a light source under them to, again, see for like thinning, staining, discolorations I may not see. I have a black light, a UV flashlight that I also use on this. I want to make sure everything is clean. It looks like a CSI episode a lot of the times, but some people don't think about all of that when selling vintage linens. Well, thank you for listening and watching this video. I hope you learned something about vintage linens. And please like and subscribe and watch some of my other videos and have a wonderful day.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion, even though I offer all of the solutions. I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? 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 But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins.